I am happy. Yeah.
Oh, wait, Sophia, it says we're not live yet. Setting up your meeting for Facebook Live. Let's see if Stacy will tell us. That was a good practice.
Mine says live on Facebook. Meeting is
now
good.
Streaming. Okay. I don't see our faces on here anymore.
You don't see us?
Go ahead, Stacy. I mean, Sophia, sorry.
I was wondering, is Stacy making a guest appearance? But no, we, for those of you just joining us, we're excited to be having our Facebook Live. We had a great time last week and we got a great response, so we're gonna do it again. Kat is here, Sophia is here. And for those of you just joining us, we are gonna be talking about basically tips of what we should have known, not really should have known, but what did you wish you would have known when your child just got his or her autism diagnosis. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. A little reminiscing is going to be taking part. So yeah, good stuff. Say it one more time, my love. I could not hear you. Say it one more time.
Do you remember that day like yesterday?
Oh, my day? How was my day? My day. It was okay. We're dealing with some new behaviors in my house. For those of you that don't know, I have 3 boys and 2 of them are diagnosed with autism. And so the last couple of weeks have been a little challenging for us because we have some new challenging behaviors going on. My youngest, Joseph, who's 4, he has decided that he's going to start waking up in the middle of the night. And it's not really, I want mommy in the middle of the night. It's I'm awake and let's party. Let's start our day at anywhere between 1:30 in the morning and 4 in the morning. So we're a little sleep deprived in the house. So we're just trying to figure that out. So any of you moms, dads have any tips, send them my way because this is new territory for me. And then the other thing, my other son with autism, Jack, he is 9 years old and he has started with some Pica behaviors. And for those of you that don't know Pica is basically, they are eating things that are inappropriate, non-food items. That can be hair, that can be lotion, that can be, I mean, I've seen children that have eaten sheetrock before, stuffing out of the couches and pillows, things of that nature. So right now my little one is wanting to get into my cosmetics and eat my mascara, my facial lotion, body lotion, Vaseline, lip gloss, my perfume, shaving cream. So it's been fun, but we're going to get to the bottom of it. And he doesn't know it, but tomorrow we're going into the pediatrician's office for a little blood work, just to make sure we're not vitamin deficient, because apparently in some cases it could be a simple fix as getting some blood work. You might be vitamin deficient in a particular vitamin, and then you simply get some supplements in that vitamin, and then hopefully those behaviors might go away. So anyway, it's been interesting this week. But yeah, I'm hanging in there, seeing your pretty face, Kat. How are you doing?
Can you hear me? We're having some...
I can.
Okay.
I can.
Today's a good day. I'm sure everyone on here has experienced the quarantine a little bit different. One of our therapists tested positive for COVID, and so we start the 10 to 14-day home quarantine to keep all of our loved ones safe. So trying to stay active time with Cal, our little kiddo, and keep some of the lessons we've learned this summer going, and balancing it all, right? It's just a balancing act. But we are so excited. Our topic today is what you wish you knew when your child is diagnosed. And before I was asking, do you remember that day when your first kiddo was diagnosed? What was that like? Can you walk us through, and I'll share mine too.
Yes, let me get the Kleenex first. No, I probably should have put a little bit of Kleenex right here. But anyway, for us, we went into the evaluation not really suspecting to get an autism diagnosis. So my husband and I were kind of blindsided. We were really thinking of I don't know, we were thinking something else because Jack had been very sick as a baby. He had RSV virus at 3.5 months old. He almost died from it. We were in the children's hospital for almost a week. I mean, it was a nightmare. And the one thing I will say is after he had that virus, I swear to you, he was never the same. Just he stopped making milestones, even just, on the growth chart. He was very small. He used to be a great at eating, great at breastfeeding, and it just kind of stopped. So we did have some, red flags going up, but because we had never dealt with autism before, we really didn't know what to look for. And he was a very quiet baby. So, I would always brag and say, oh man, he's the best baby. He sleeps so well. He plays by himself so well. And then just he was completely nonverbal. So he wasn't talking. And so our pediatrician just said, I think we need to send him to MUSC to have a full workup. And I said, okay. And I remember that day, I kid you not, my husband woke up with a stomach virus. Jack had vomited in his crib in the middle of the night, and we left Bluffton. It was like about 5:30 in the morning. We were getting in the car to drive to Charleston, and I'm literally having to pull the car over so George can vomit. And, I mean, it was just, great start of the day. And so when we got there, just lots of questions. I swear to you, Kat, I think I was in a question answer session for maybe like 2.5 hours. I will say the staff at MUSC was absolutely amazing. Everybody was amazing. But then after the question session, one of the doctors came in and said, hey, would it be okay if we evaluated Jack for autism? And I was like, okay. And she said, I'm not saying he has it, but it would help us rule things out. So is that okay? And I said, sure, absolutely. And so then we started that whole process of going through the evaluation, and that was a full day. And and then at the end of the day, they called us back in. This was about 4 o'clock that afternoon, 3 or 4 o'clock. We all get in the room. The whole panel of docs was in there, the psychologists, and they were like, he has autism. And I just remember, you gotta be kidding me. I just never thought autism. It was never, ever on my mind. I knew there was something that wasn't adding up because he was still not talking and that sort of thing. But I never once thought autism. And so I broke down right there in the room. And, but, they gave you this big, I'll never forget this, stack of papers about that thick. And George and I load Jack up in the car. He's had a long day. He passes out, and we're just driving back to Bluffton. And I keep George is driving, and I remember I keep looking over at George, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Autism? Really? Like, and I just kept staring at him. I kept turning around and staring at him, and he was asleep in the car seat. And it was just, I kept looking back and looking at that big stack of papers. I was just surreal. And then, you know, the next few days I reached out to not a lot of people because it takes a while. It took me a while to just process that. And the few family members I did tell, I will say, they were shocked. No one really saw it coming, to be honest. Nobody saw it coming. But now that I look back, I'm like, yeah, totally. The flags were there, the signs were there. We weren't educated enough on autism to know, really. And that's what it is, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's like yesterday. I mean, I think I remember what we all had on. I remember what we were wearing and everything, you know, just literally like yesterday. Yeah, I can't believe we're now, and that was like 2014, and now we're in 2020. It's crazy. I couldn't hear you, love. Still can't hear you. I'm sorry.
Having technical difficulties.
There you go. There you go.
Is that better?
Well, it's been storming. Yeah, that's much better. It's been storming where you are all day, I think, right?
Between you and the phone and me having thunderstorms around, it's been difficult. But I'm glad you can hear me now. And your story gave me goosebumps because hearing every single parent's story is different, but your heart goes out to them. And I can relate to most of what you said with Cal. My son is 4, and I'll never forget, which I think we all say, I'll never forget what we were wearing and everything. But we kind of had an idea after some of our doctor's visits and, you know, filling out the milestone paperwork. But when we went to MUSC, we were not sure that we were going to receive a diagnosis that day. And so we did. And it was a shock. And I remember it was like everything was going whoop, 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 whoop in my ears because I just couldn't hear anything after that. And
Right.
one of the biggest things I wish I knew was that I wasn't alone, you know, because it just felt at that moment that nobody could possibly understand what I was feeling and what I was going through. And I felt guilty about the feelings that I had. And there's this level of grief that I felt when I found out. I think it was grieving the motherhood and the bond I would have with my kid and what I thought that would look like. I was grieving that loss for a while, and I know now that that's okay and that most parents probably go through the same thing, and it will get better. I just wish I knew in that moment that things would get better and easier. That's just such a really hard time. Hearing the diagnosis, working through it, and researching everything, it's just all a big process.
Yeah, absolutely. And the grieving part that you just brought up, you know, I haven't spoken about this to a lot of people, but you just hit it dead on. I mean, there is an actual grieving process. And when I say grieving, it equates to like you have physically lost someone. But what you really are grieving for is you're grieving the life that you had dreamed of for your child. And that's really what you're. And you know, some people are like, grieving, they're not dead. No, they're not. But what you're grieving, you know, in motherhood, let's face it, when you're pregnant, when they're born, you do have these dreams and these, you know, you're visualizing your child's future, and you have high hopes for your children. And I still do, but it definitely looks a lot different than before the diagnosis. And I think that's what, you know, people I do get phone calls a lot. You may too, Kat, of, friends and acquaintances that they have a family member or a close friend who is just receiving a diagnosis, and they will reach out to me and say, Sophia, please help me. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I want to help them, or I'm trying to reach out to them. They're not returning my phone calls. They're not returning my emails, my text messages. What do I do? And the number one thing I say is you're going to have to give them a little bit of time and space for them to process first. You're going to have to process and take that diagnosis in first. And then you're going to need to allow that person some grieving time. And I'm not talking a day or a week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And everyone's time and growth period is different.
Yes.
I know that there was like such a long period of time where, and I'm putting myself out, whoever's there listening, it's hard to be in this vulnerable state of admitting these things, but that's why we're doing this.
Yes.
I would be lying if I said I went through a period of feeling like I couldn't leave my house. I was embarrassed and didn't want people to stare at me and at our son. And some of those things like visual and, you can hear differences in children with autism because they have audio stems and they sound different sometimes and they can be loud. And I just remember the second that I let go of that I let go of caring about what people thought about me and my child, it was like weight was lifted. And I wish I could tell every new mom and every new dad or every new caregiver with a kiddo with autism that it doesn't matter. The second you can let go of that and be comfortable in your skin and live your life and not care, things are going to be so much better. There's so much more sunshine. And, I even started to realize that people wanted to ask more questions once I got out there and was open and had that energy about me that I'm out, I love my kid, and this is us, I just wish that I would have given myself and my son grace and gotten out more in the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you just said, I'm still working through that. Like, you've got the boys in Target or restaurant or and people are staring, because my little Joseph, he stems, it's like verbal stems. He's nonverbal, but he makes a lot of noise, and then his little hands are always flapping. He's my little bird. He looks like he's going to take flight. But when we go out, I will tell you, we get a lot of stares. And just like you said, the day that you were like, you know what, you got to just don't worry about what they think. He's not hurting anyone. He's not disturbing anyone. Just, you got to let it go. Quality of life instantly changes. But I will say it's not overnight. It takes a while to just work through that. Like I said, I'm still working through that. I'm still working through that.
But I overuse that word journey because it is a journey. If I could look back at where I was and where I am now, and my son's only 4, I've come such a long way. And
Yes.
I have to say, and I have all these different things that I wish I knew. I wish that I would have gotten a mentor. I have a mentor now, and I hope she's listening. She walked me through, because she has a son on the spectrum but's older, so she's gone through a lot of the things I've already gone through, and she pumped me up, and she helped me to know that it's going to get easier, and don't let things bother you, and it's just nice to have someone you can call and that support you and can relate to you and can tell you what's ahead. So if there's somebody out there that's in your circle or support group or whatever that you can lean on, I would recommend having a mentor. And then when you're in that spot to do the same thing, return that, pay it forward, because I have some friends out there that have newly diagnosed kids, and they've reached out to me, and it's just such a good feeling to know that we can all support each other, because we can all relate to each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll tell you, working for Laugh, you know, I started volunteering for Laugh a few years ago, and then now I'm, you know, working for Laugh. And I will tell you, you know, I have my own struggles and my own journeys with my children, but it's so rewarding, so fulfilling. And honestly, it's like comfort when you are bringing comfort to other people and helping them with their journey. And so, you know, I have some people in my life, they're like, you are working like a dog. Why are you doing this? You have a full plate, girl. Like, are you crazy? But it honestly, to me, I'm like, it's a labor of love, what I do. And I just think, you know, definitely find some support, find some fellow autism moms and dads to just kind of team up with and help each other out. And trust me, that will be so incredibly helpful, you know, for everyone, and including siblings. If siblings are involved, that's very important too. That's awesome. If there's a way that you can find other autism siblings to have some form of outing. I know that we are in the works right now trying to iron all of that out, but sibling support, don't forget about the siblings. They need support as well, and they need help navigating, because they are a part of the journey, and a lot of times they're they refer to them as the forgotten ones. So they're just as important as mom and dad. Yeah, man.
Speaking
Tough stuff.
Yeah, it is. And I will say that I am a totally different person now. And as hard as the beginning, and it is still the beginning, but at the very beginning of all of this, I feel like now I'm a different person. I'm a better person. I'm a better mom, and I wouldn't be that without Cal, with our little kiddo. And so, but also with that in mind, speaking of support and what you wish you knew, I wish I knew 3 years ago that my friendships would all change, and that my support system would change, and those that I could rely on would change, and that it was okay. Like with all that grieving, it was almost like I lost some friendships and things, and that's okay. Like my support system and my close knit of people now are the people that I love the most, and that support us and want to know about our journey and ask questions and want to be around us. And that's important to me. So I'm glad I am where I am, and I keep having these doors open, like Low Country Autism Foundation, and meeting other caregivers like me. You know, you're going down a path that is going to help you and your child or your children with autism. And it's okay to let the bad things and the negative things or the things that aren't working anymore, leave them in the past. Yeah. I just am glad that I'm, you know, where I am now and not stuck back in chapters behind me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for me, I am such a type A person, and I'm a planner, and I like to know, like, things I want them done. I wanted them done yesterday. Shame on me. But I've changed. I'm better. I still have some things to work on. Okay. But as far as planning is concerned, let me just show you. I love like planners. I have a couple of them. Who needs more than one planner? Sophia does, because she's a little crazy about that. And maybe it's a control thing. I don't know. But anyway, it has been probably the hardest on me to not plan out my year. Not being able to really plan out the next 6 months. Because why? You plan something and it doesn't work out. You just never know.
Amen, sister.
Yeah, girl. I mean, you plan a vacation. No, it's not gonna work out. Nope.
Having no expectations, maybe, letting go of,
yeah,
go with the flow.
Maybe that's it. Like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to put it into words, but like, school has been a big deal for me. Like, and it took me a while to just accept it. Like, I'm like, oh, well, at age 5, Jack will be in kindergarten. At age 6, he will be in first grade. 7, 8, boom, 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 boom. And he's going to move on to this grade, and then he'll mainstream. Yeah, right. Who am I telling? Who am I fooling? So I think that not to have low expectations, but just maybe take things day by day.
And live in the moment.
Yeah. Live in the moment.
Yeah.
Week by week.
You bring up such a good point that I know that we share a lot of the same wish I knew things. One of them is I wish that I did better in celebrating all the progress and the littlest success of progress should be celebrated. Because if I'm trying to compare my son with someone else, they're very much on different paths, and their progress is going to look different because their set of challenges are different. And I think if we can remind ourselves to just celebrate every little thing, it brings so much more positivity into the whole journey. And just trying to remember that every situation, every family that has someone on the spectrum is not alike. Everyone is different. And so you have to focus on your family and your successes and what works best for you, and always trust that gut. You know what's best for your kid.
Yeah. Your mama. You always know. Mamas know. Doctors even say that. Yeah. A friend of mine, he has a son with autism, and I remember him telling me, I was having a rough day one day, and he said, Sophia, take it day by day. And if you can't take it day by day, take it hour by hour. And if you can't take it hour by hour, you take it minute by minute. And I will tell you, when you are in those situations with your child where it's really challenging, like I will tell you, I'm going to get real here. Fecal smearing. I remember I was about to just lose it. And I stopped myself, and I just remembered what he told me. And I was like, we're going to get through this minute by minute. We're just going to get this minute by minute. And then I started going, okay, minute by minute. All right, we got to this minute. Okay, we get to this minute. Okay, now we're going to go hour by hour, and then just kind of start building on that. Some of the best advice I've ever had, literally.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds some crazy, maybe minute by minute. Really, it can't be all that bad.
No, it really is.
It can get challenging, people. Yeah.
And everyone that's listening probably is thinking of that one thing that probably takes them over the edge, and you just try and remind yourselves to count to 10. But it's really hard to do that. There are moments where you do lose your patience, but you're doing the best. We are all doing the best we can. And I know there are a couple things, because we're already closing in on the end of our call, but I wanted to mention one more thing, and that is, and I'm sure you have one or two, Sophia, that you want to share. I remember my very first outing, which I was so nervous. This is so sad that if I could take that time, I would have gotten out sooner. But the very first time I got out, and I know every state's different, but here in people out there that would hug us and get us through it. And there are events like this. There are places like this everywhere. And you just have to look for them. You have to research. And sometimes I think if you don't know the right questions to ask, then you don't know. But you can ask any questions and you'll find something out. Research it, ask around. There are things out there for your kid to do and to get involved and be in the community and to feel a part of something. So, surfers healing. We don't get to do it this year, but hopefully next year. And I think y'all even have one where you are, Sophia. Pockets full of sunshine, right?
Yes, one of my favorite nonprofits, Pockets Full of Sunshine. They focus on inclusive opportunities for special needs adults. And I just love it. Well, they have an all-inclusive beach day once a year. They've had to postpone their event, so hopefully they'll be able to still have it by the end of the year, but if not, crossing our fingers, we'll be able to participate next June. But same thing, just lots of love. You hit that beach on Hilton Head, and so many families that are in a similar journey as you are, similar situation. It's just nothing but love and support for one another. And I just remember Jack, I almost did not show up because I was just so afraid. And Jack is a runner. There's an elopement risk with him. And I just remember we got on that beach and immediately someone just kind of took him over, and he ended up being on a paddle board. Now he wasn't comfortable to go out into the ocean on the paddle board, but the volunteer was so patient with him. And I've got this amazing picture of him. He's just standing in shallow water on top of that paddle board, and he's reenacting, he's scripting. So autism families know what I'm talking about, scripting. He's scripting Moana, and he's talking to the volunteer as if she is Moana and he's Maui, and he's singing for her, arms open wide, and I'm just standing there like, this is pure heaven. I mean, this is so beautiful. This is one of those beautiful moments, I mean, yes, autism can be so hard, so challenging, but I'll tell you, it will make you appreciate the little things in life, and you will get to witness some beautiful, beautiful moments,
Oh yeah, I echo that 100%. And I know that Sophia and I both have like all sorts of pages of notes of things that we wanted to share with y'all today. And I don't even know if 30 minutes is long enough for us two talkers to get on.
No.
We love your feedback. We've been thinking about doing this platform of community conversations and picking a new topic. We might do it every week. So please, if you're watching, please put your feedback into the box. If there are things you want us to talk about or focus on, we would love to hear that. We do have some guests coming up that will have some helpful information about investing and banking and all kind of yummy stuff. So we thank you for joining us today. Sorry for the volume and technical issues with the storms and everything. And we love you. Thank you for Loving Laugh.
Bye, guys. See y'all soon.
Take care.
Bye, guys.